We were at the last section, which is the glories of the devotional service, glories of Bhakti Yoga process. We completed uh, 26 verses. Yeah, 26 verses. 26th verse we complete, 27 to 34. Today we have to conclude this chapter, and let's see what Krishna has to say in the remainder of this section. So this section, text 26 to 34, is the glories of Krishna Bhakti. And we will maybe give a quick recap of this entire chapter. This chapter talks about the pure confidential knowledge of Krishna, that Krishna is speaking, the most confidential knowledge. So far he hasn't spoken because he's going to speak his heart. So sometimes when we speak to someone, we pick up very close friends and devotees and speak these confidential subject matters. So Krishna is speaking what he likes, what he wants, and how people can approach him. It's like giving away himself. That is why it is most confidential knowledge. He's giving away himself, how you can approach him, what attracts him. And in this process is giving some knowledge about himself in the form of um, the various aspects of him, and how different people worship him different ways. And what is the different ways? And different ways is some worship him within that oneness, and some worship him in diversity, some worship him in the universal form. So that universal form is explained like various ways within this universe that people see or perceive in the nature, and the sound vibration like omkara, like that. That's the universal form. And the oneness is with, he will speak that in the next chapters. Oneness, which is unmanifestation, like oneness. Yeah, we'll get to that. But the Pratakvena is what he spoke until the 24th chapter, 25th verse. 20 to 25th is where he's speaking about how the various demigod worshippers, various different people, what they do, how they worship, and where they reach once. Because he has to give the benefit also, like the stuti of or the result of once you do something, what is the result? If you worship them, certain other people other than me, you will go to their planet. That is the benefit you get. That is the result. But if you worship me, you will come to me. That's what he said. That is how he is giving away himself. And then he speaks about the glories. Like for me, for you to worship me, it doesn't need a lot of big things. You don't need a lot of qualifications. All you need is little bhakti. With that bhakti, you can offer me some small offerings. You don't have to be very big offerings. So that's what he said in that verse 26, which is Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo Me Bhaktya Prayachati. Tadaham Bhakti Upaharatam Ashnami Prayatatmana. So it's only bhakti that I need. I don't need, along with your offering, I need your bhakti. You just give me, like a boss in the organization will give him the job. There is exchange, right? You give your services, and manager will give you, or the boss will give you the remuneration. So that is the exchange that we have. But here we are not just talking about that. The exchange is whatever he has to give is already giving, whether you ask it or not. But he wants that extra element, which is bhakti. That is what he's looking. That is how you can come close to him, bhakti. And that's the process he has mentioned, to offer him something. Whatever you eat, you just offer it to him. And then next, what about whatever we do, right? We just not only eat, right? We do many things. And that's what he's going to speak in this verse onwards. In this section, 27th verse, he speaks. Yeah. Who didn't speak yesterday? Ramina Mataji. Yat karoshi yad ashnasi.
Yat karoshi yad yasnashi,
Yad juhosi tadasi yat.
yad juhoshi dadashi yad,
Yat tapasyasi kaunteya.
yat tapasyashi kaunteya,
Kurusva madarpanam.
tat kurushva mada arpanam.
Translation: whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. So we just don't only eat, right? We do many things. So Krishna is saying, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away as charity, whatever austerities you perform, also do that as an offering to me. Please read the purport, Mataji.
Thus, it is the duty of everyone to mold his life in such a way that he will not forget Krishna in any circumstance. Everyone has to work for maintenance of his body and soul together, and Krishna recommends herein that one should work for him. Everyone has to eat something to live, therefore, he should accept the remnants of the foodstuff offered to Krishna. Any civilized man has to perform some religious ritualistic ceremonies. Therefore, Krishna recommends, do it for me. And that is called archana. Everyone has a tendency to give something in charity. Krishna says, give it to me. And this means that all surplus money accumulated should be utilized in furthering in Krishna consciousness movement. Nowadays, people are very much inclined to the meditational process, which is not practical in this age. But if anyone practices meditating on Krishna 24 hours a day by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra round his beads, he is surely the greatest meditator and the greatest yogi, as sustained by the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita.
Thank you. So we have to do whatever we do and whatever we give, whatever we eat is already spoken. We do it as an offering to Krishna. But the question can come, whatever we can do anything and then offer that to Krishna? Well, we cannot, it doesn't, we need to read in between the lines also, right? Like you said, like you need to read whatever you do, like a butcher can kill animals, or a murderer can kill people and offer that to Krishna. Is that even possible? Because Krishna is saying that you can do. But this has to be in Krishna consciousness. Now we cannot isolate this one statement that whatever you do, give it to me, offer it to me. Some people do that. Like Krishna is telling, just do whatever. So you do whatever and offer it to. But if your intention, even in that even in that state, if your intention is like, I am unable to give up this, say, even not such gross thing like killing animals or killing people, some gross thing that we cannot give up. Or some subtle thing that we cannot give up, which is very hard for us to give up. Krishna is telling, whatever you do, give it to me. If your intention is to be purified, so intentions matter, right? If your intention is to be purified by doing, and you're not able to give it up, then it is okay to give that up. Then it is okay to do that and give that as an offering to Krishna. So in this case, the intentions matter, not just the activity, right? I'm sure you're able to understand what I'm telling, because it is not just whatever you do, whatever has to be done within the boundaries of Krishna. Krishna consciousness is universal. It is not bound by anything, but there are some rules and regulations that you cannot harm other living entities, which is where the other things that we just talk will come up. Because everyone is Krishna's part and parcel. How can you kill or take the life away of other living entities and think that whatever you do can be offered to Krishna and Krishna will be fine? Right? It is not like that. So in that we need to understand what is that we can do that Krishna will be pleased. If you love someone, you need to do something that pleases them, rather than whatever you like, you will do and then say that this is what I will do, and you take it whether you like it or not, right? So it has to be in accordance with the scriptures, rules and regulations. So coming back to that point, some things that you are not able to give up, but you're struggling with it, can you offer that to Krishna? I said it, yes, we can do. But it has to be really for the benefit of purification. If you want to be purified with that, whatever subtle thing or gross thing that you're suffering with, not able to give it up, still you can offer that to Krishna. And he will purify it. Because Krishna is absolute. He will take the essence of your offering. He'll say, I take the heart which is asking for it to be purified, not the act itself. The intention that it wants to be purified, I take that and give the benefit accordingly. So that's what he does. And the rest of the things are clear, like whatever you eat, whatever you offering like to Krishna, and then give away as charity. So charity, if you do for other organizations or other philosophies or other works, then there is karma associated, right? Like if you, for example, you give it to, say some example, what is that you encounter that you see in the contemporary world?
Maybe in a hospital
Yeah,
or Red Cross Society.
Red Cross Society, yeah. So there is karma, like you giving it to them as charity, people will come and then they take the benefit of it. If they're also using it in the service of Krishna, then you are definitely getting benefit. If not, then whatever good that they take out of your charity and use it in their benefit for materialistic purpose, then there is some amount of karma that can come to you. So that way we will be very careful where we give our charities to. So if we give it to Krishna conscious organizations for the propagation of Krishna consciousness, then we are safe and we are making progress. Whatever they do will be benefiting you also, definitely you. And then they will also thrive. So Prabhupada is saying, if whatever you want to do it for me, that becomes archanam. And then whatever you want to give as a charity, give it for furthering Krishna consciousness activities. And always think about Krishna. That is the highest yogi as mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. I thought there will be a lot of discussion on this point, but looks like everyone is clear. Right? There can be a lot of questions on this, like how we can do things.
Can I ask you a question, Mataji? I'm just thinking, because my family, they're demigod worshippers and there's ancestral demigods that they worship. So if you give charity to the temples that my ancestors used to worship, would that give me bad karma? Because the deity there is not Shri Krishna. It's a form of Durga. So, or it's a form of Kartikeya. So I just wanted to ask you that because I know my family believes in that, supporting your ancestral gods that they worshipped. So I wanted to ask you that. Would that give me karma if I support them? Because they, as parents, they expect their kids to also help out once in a while.
So, Rupa Goswami, our Acharya in our disciplic succession, in his teachings, he said how you should distribute your wealth. The distribution of wealth actually said 50% for the propagation of Krishna consciousness activities, 50% for the maintenance. Within that 50%, some portion goes to the maintenance of yourself, some portion goes to the maintenance of the family members, and some portion goes to the society. So definitely that is recommended. That is what Srila Rupa Goswami recommends, how the wealth that you have, because he had a lot of wealth. How he distributed his wealth is, half of it he gave it for Krishna conscious activities, and half of it, some of it he distributed within family that needs to sustain, because he's going to give up all this and go preaching, right? So he has to maintain them, and he did that, and some for his own maintenance so that it is required. So that is there. So if you can think it is for the maintenance of your family or propagation of their religious beliefs, and that's still okay. And you can give that as your offering to Krishna.
Thank you.
Can make that as an offering. This is what I am offering to you, Lord. You take it and however you want to make it useful.
Thank you.
Right? We cannot be fanatics also, thinking that this is a statement we learned and we cannot. So it has to be time, place, circumstance, situations where we are in. We cannot disturb everything. If at all we can help them make progress. So if make that offering, then if they take it and they feel good about it, maybe they will become one step closer to Krishna. Maybe they are thinking that, okay, Krishna devotees are not that like this. They will also support other causes. It is our family, right? We cannot neglect them. So definitely that is required and we should do. This is recommended by Srila Rupa Goswami. So it is within it's bona fide. So we have to, so it has to be evaluated. We cannot just But for the other societies, other organizations that you're not at all concerned, people will come, do this charity, do that charity. We may be cautious about it. Evaluate it before you do. Yes.
Mataji, my understanding, I think from past classes was that if we do demigod worship, not for material gains, but actually for coming closer to Krishna, then it is fine. So let's say if in Debbie's family, if Debbie is offering, like you said, as an offering to Krishna for coming closer to him, that's it. Is that the correct understanding?
She will do like that and they will do however they want. But her intention is for them also to come closer to Krishna. So it's all prayers. Whatever you do goes along with the prayers and the offerings. So Krishna consciousness sometimes looks like very rigid, looks like it is very rigid and looks like it is in act what we do. Like we do things in the day. Like if you go to the temple, there are many things that are being done, and at homes also. It looks like that's all it is. It is not all that. There are some understandings that is of course there, but then there is much more behind it, which is your understanding, how you apply these teachings in various situations. So it has to be taken, it's holistic, it's universal. How can be something which is as universal as Krishna conscious can be restricted to just some process and procedure that we do, which are very, very visible? It is not that. It has to be understood in a much deeper level. We cannot definitely, because by doing that, we can take people away. And that's not good. It takes people away from the process. I mean, they will become averse to Krishna consciousness. What these people can't even think of anything else. We can do it in our hearts. We can be as strict as possible within our, but when we're going out and reaching people, it has to be very liberal, very universal. Only then people will come into the house. Otherwise, we will be also out of the house after some time, because it becomes very fanatic. How can you sustain the fanaticism? It's not possible. It has to be acceptance and then bring along people. And Prabhupada has built a house for the entire world to fit into it. It's not just we few people here. Like everyone can fit into this world. That is how big this house is. So we need to keep striving for that. Okay, we'll go into the next verse, which is Priyambada Mataji, please. Subha Shubha Falairevam.
Mataji, okay, Hare Krishna. Shubha Shubha Fal Falerevam.
Mokshasya Karma Bandhanai.
Mokshe se karma bandhane.
Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma.
Sannyasi yoga yuktamnam. Atmanam.
Vimukto Mam Upashyasi.
Vimukto mam upeshyati.
In this way, you will be free from bondage to work. And it is auspicious and with this auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. You can read, Mataji, the purport. Are you able to? Okay, someone else can read the purport.
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yeah, please, Prabhuji.
One who acts in Krishna consciousness under the superior direction is called Yukta. The technical term is Yukta Vairagya. This is explained in Rupa Goswami, by Rupa Goswami as follows. Anantaskattasya Vishayan Yataraham Upayanjataha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Vairagyam Uchyate. Bhakti Sindhu 1.2.255. Rupa Goswami says that as long as we are in this material world, we have to act. We can't cease acting. Therefore, if actions are performed and the fruits are given to Krishna, then it is called Yukta Vairagya. Actually situated in renunciation, such activities clear the mirror of the mind. And as the actor gradually make progress in spiritual realization, he becomes completely surrendered to Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, at the end he becomes liberated. And this liberation is also specified. By this liberation, he does not become one with the Brahma Jyoti, but rather enters into the planet of Supreme Lord. It is clearly mentioned here, Mam Upaisyasi. He comes back to me, back home, back to Godhead. There are 5 different stages of liberation. Here, it is specified that the devotee who has always lived his lifetime under the direction of the Supreme Lord, as stated, has evolved to the point where he can, after quitting this body, go back to Godhead and engage directly in the association of the Supreme Lord. Anyone who has no interest but to dedicate his life to the service of the Lord is actually a sannyasi. Such a person always thinks of himself as an eternal servant dependent on the supreme will of the Lord. As such, whatever he does it for the benefit of the Lord. Whatever action he performs it as a service to the Lord. He does not give serious attention to the fruitive activities or the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. For ordinary persons, it is obligatory to execute the prescribed duties mentioned in the Vedas. But although a pure devotee who is completely engaged in the service of the Lord may sometimes appear to be against the prescribed Vedic duties, actually it is not so. It is said that by Vaishnava authorities that even the most intelligent person cannot understand the plans and the activities of a pure devotee. The exact words are Tanra, Vakya, Kriya, Mudra, Vigneha, Na, Buhaya, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 23.39. A person who is thus always engaged in the service of the Lord, or is always thinking and planning how to serve the Lord, is to be considered completely liberated at the present. And in the future, his going back home, back to Godhead is guaranteed. He is above all materialistic criticism, just as Krishna is above all criticism. Thank you, Mataji.
So this verse talks about leave off all the Shubha and Ashubha. One second, let me just adjust this. Are you seeing my screen still?
Yes,
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 Mataji.
Mataji.
The
Yes,
same
Mataji.
database, right?
It is in the Veda base in the first page. Mataji.
Oh, first page.
The topmost source of spiritual knowledge. That's what we
It
see.
all went. So we are here. Okay. So Subha Shubha Palair Evam Moksha Se Karma Bandhane Sannyasa Yoga Yuktatma Vimuktoma Upaishyasi. In this way, you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. So if you give something to Krishna, Krishna will take away the inauspiciousity from it and makes your result, make your offering perfect. And auspicious thing anyway is the auspicious result. With your mind fixed on me and with this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So in this purport, Prabhupada is speaking about Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya is whatever we do, we attach doubtlessly to Krishna consciousness. That Yukta is to acting in one superior direction is called Yukta. That's what Prabhupada is saying. Vairagya is, Yukta is also called linking or linking in yoga. So whatever, like it's one acts in Krishna consciousness is actually acting in yoga, which is Yukta. And when we attach Vairagya word to that, it becomes whatever you are doing, you are becoming detached from that also. You use everything in the service of the Lord, which is what this verse, Bhakti Rasam Sindhu. Anasaktasya Vishayan Yathartham Upayunjataha Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yuktam Vairagya Muchate. So in this world, this is Rupa Goswami. As long as we're in the web, we have to act. And we cannot act, cease acting. So therefore, if we perform everything and the result and the fruits are given to Krishna, that is called Yukta Vairagya. The usual example that Prabhupada quotes is when he was using all the material things such as the technology of dictaphone and all that. He's using that because generally when we give up things, it becomes very, we cannot give up things because everything is within the realm of Krishna's, right? It's all, even the matter. Krishna says, I am the source of all the matter also. Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu is from me only. So we cannot give up, but we can use it in the service of the Lord. And that's how Prabhupada uses things. He has given us with the examples of dictaphone when he use it. Yes, this is, but it is becoming spiritualized. So we cannot give up things. So in that way, whatever we do, if we do that within ourselves as an offering, then that becomes Krishna. You are detached from it. You will not get the inauspicious result, whatever it may be associated with. In the example of giving charity to the family members, we do that as an offering first to Krishna, so that they may, with that prayer, that they may become better disposed to Krishna consciousness. They may become open to the teachings of Krishna consciousness. If we make that offering and give it, whatever Krishna may desire, that up to them and them also, and Krishna's definitely will prevail. So if that happens, then you are anyway benefiting, and for you, you are done with it. As part of that offering, you are done with it, and then the rest is with Krishna. So Krishna is saying, if you do that as an offering to me, you will give up the inauspicious result, if there is any associated with that work. So it's better we do it in that way, with your mind fixed on, because our goal is not this activity or anything. We need to keep moving with whatever is there that comes up, and we just go forward in Krishna consciousness. Then in that way, continuously you will come to that stage of detachment, right? And that detached is everything for the service of the Lord, nothing for me. That comes over a period of time, and that is sannyasi. Sannyasis can be in the robes, sannyasis can be not in the robes also. That we all can be within the sannyas mood, but not necessarily dressed up as sannyasis. So it is the consciousness that we should develop. That is where we can keep making progress. And sometimes while doing this, when we are doing things, this another verse Prabhupada has quoted is, sometimes it's very hard to see how devotees are operating. This is what that is. Kriya mudra vignyaya na bhujaya. It is hard to see the Vaishnavas, Pandra, Vakya, Kriya and Mudra. Whatever sometimes they act, whatever they say, whatever they do, whatever activity, like with the mudra is some with the hands and some positionings. It is hard to understand a Vaishnava's intentions. If the Vaishnava is totally Krishna conscious, it's hard to understand sometimes their intentions. And that's what this verse is. If the Vaishnava's authority, that even most intelligent person cannot understand the plans and activities of pure devotee. The exact words are Tara again. Chaitanya Charitamrita. A person who is thus always engaged in the service of the Lord is always thinking and planning how to serve the Lord and to be considered completely liberated. In that process, for example, in the preaching process, he may go and speak to some mlechas, for example. It's a very ordinary example. Like you go into the villages and speak to those people. Generally, we may think, oh, how we can associate with those people. And we may eat in their home also. The preacher may go and may have to partake from their home also. So how does it look for an outsider, like person who's looking at this judgmental view? Oh, this Vaishnava is having meals with these mlichas, they are meat eaters. What is the purpose of this Vaishnava? To bring them into the fold of Krishna consciousness by his activity. So only if we mingle with them, then only they will at least become open to hear him. And then they may take up one or two people, if not everyone from that. So look at his intention. His intention is to bring them into the fold of Krishna consciousness. But if you look at it from the external perspective, it looks like this person has gone and associating with them, talking their Gramya Katha. And talking, associating and giving your association means not just preaching, right? Who will hear you speak unless you hear them with their problems? Preaching is not just going and speaking your knowledge on the scriptures. Preaching is associating. Only if you know that you have understood their pain, then only they will be able to hear you. This is how the preachers are. Preachers, when they go out and go into the masses and preach, they are not going with the stick of the Shastra saying, this is what Shastra says, you need to do this, you need to. This is for the devotees who have come into the fold. But for the others, we need to go and reach. This is outreach. When we outreach, we go and get into their situations and see how they are. This is what Srila Sanatana Goswami used to do. And that's why he's very popular among the villagers. He used to go and mingle with these people and hear their problems and associate with them. And for every good auspicious activities that would happen in the villages, he is the first guest that is invited. That is because he associated, and that, did he become one among them by doing that? No, he maintained his Krishna consciousness, and then he brought them into the fold of Krishna consciousness also. But he was like Gramya Mukhya. People would go and express their problems to him. So that is how a Vaishnava is. And by doing that, someone who is looking at it like externally, they may think that what is he doing? He's becoming like one among them. And that's where sometimes we cannot understand the activities of Vaishnavas, even an intelligent person sometimes. So we cannot judge Vaishnavas. If you look at their entire life and their activities, their intentions, what are their goals in their life, and see how they are operating. Only then, even then you cannot judge them, because it's very hard to look at the external activities of a Vaishnava. This is what it means from this purport. Yeah, but Prabhupada has gone a little bit length. I think he's setting the stage for the future verses. Whatever Prabhupada does, right, at the end, he's trying to already giving a glimpse of the future verses. In this last section, that's how usually I have noticed, or I've been also told to notice like that. When you are reading a purport, Prabhupada is already giving the next purports, some points into this already. That's how he does. Prabhu, Srinivas Prabhu?
I need some help here, especially this is for again the preaching mission only. There are among the great preachers, there is some difference of opinions and all, but I am strongly, I feel I can see the results like what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told to Sanatana Goswami, like Jivodaya, Name Japa, Vaishnava Seva. So I am actually trying to search for the more direct, the books where it is mentioned, and also Sanatana Goswami, what you mentioned, like where Sanatana Goswami go to reach out to the people and used to hear, and that is how he used to help them and bring them into the fold, and eventually they become devotees. So if you can kindly help me out with some books where I can refer, because nowadays it is becoming very difficult. Like, we also have to deal with certain type of wonderful devotees, but still they come with certain very strong ideas, which sometimes too much fanatic, and which is pushing a lot of devotees out actually. And I have been receiving these calls where devotees are complaining, saying, this devotee is doing this, that devotee, and now 5 people are not coming to the temple. So this has been happening for quite some time, and in fact, like it went to a next level now. So I feel like this is the need of hour where we need to bring in those teachings also. So if you can help me out, where we can find these. So because certain devotees, they don't really care. They want to be shown, like, see, look, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal instructions to Sanatana Goswami is this. So, but we are not doing that Jivodaya. Like we are so fanatic. We say my way or highway. Like we a lot of times, like we say I saw some preachers also say, no, just stick. Like, you can't even just go to, don't even think about that, this and all. So it will be helpful, Mataji, maybe if not immediately, but if you get an opportunity, if you can give me those references where we can find these ones. And I'm sure Prabhupada would have definitely spoke about these also. So that will really help, Mataji, because it is becoming, there is a lot of anti-ISKCON also happening because of this kind of preaching. Not everybody, certain people who are doing it, but the challenge is they are very good in certain areas. They are the leaders in those areas. So what happens is people will kind of like, unless we go and show them and convince them, it is getting it's like growing much bigger and pushing a lot of devotees from the moment, and actually like we are kind of, it's doing a disservice actually.
Hmm.
And I'm sure Prabhupada and all Guru Parampara must be really sad the things happening. But as a servant, like how to go and beg them and showing, Prabhu, please, this is what our Sanatana Prabhuji, Sanatana Goswami was doing, and that what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, and we are from that movement, right? And though we actually saw Prabhupada was actually initial days of Prabhupada all hippies. There was no devotee actually. But unfortunately, so for some reason they are not, this is happening. So I need.
Yeah, where did Prabhupada walk into? Were there all Vaishnavas wearing tilaks, dhotis, and chanting Hare Krishna? In which area did he walk into? So Prabhupada's life. I mean, that is what else do we want when we look at Prabhupada's life? That is itself, he came and he made devotees and he associated with them. He took upon himself to do so much so that they can be elevated. So that is an example. But Srila Sanatana Goswami's, there is a book called Six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Six Goswamis of Vrindavan. Each Goswami's life description is described in that book. Definitely Srila Sanatana Goswami's life.
So this authored by Mataji, Six Goswamis Vrindavan is
I have read a soft version of it. I don't have a hard book.
Okay, if you even have soft version, that is
It
fine.
is. I found that in ISKCON Desire years back.
Okay. Then I can just check. Okay.
You can read that. Yeah, to start off. And he has written many scriptures, but he wouldn't talk about his life in that. Yeah, definitely this book to start off. And you can look for Chaitanya, look at Mahaprabhu and Srila Sanatana Goswami Sambad in Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, where, what is that?
Jivodaya Name Ruchi Vaishnava Seva.
Yeah. So we can read that section of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yeah, so there are a lot of quotations and Prabhupada's. Then upcoming 2 verses also. Let's see that, and 2-3 verses.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Saurav Chauri Prabhu, is he from our classes?
I know this last name belongs to Toshi Mataji.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, why don't you only read Toshi Mataji? We've not seen you for some time.
Yes, Mataji, I was not well, so
Hope you feel well.
yeah.
Let's go to this 929. Samoham sarva bhuteshu
Samoham sarvabhuteshu
name dveshosti na priyaha
na me dveshosti na priyaha
ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya
ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya
maite teshu chapyaham.
maite teshu chapyaham.
Okay. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I'm also a friend to him. So Krishna is very clearly saying, some people may say Krishna is kind to them. He is not kind to me. He is partial to them. Krishna is saying, I am not partial. I don't envy. I'm equal to everyone. Like when he gives his association to the devotees, when he comes in those 2 verses of chapter 4, Paritranaya Sadhuna, Vinashaya Chadushkuta. So what is he doing? He is coming to elevate the devotees and also punishing the demons. How are they benefiting the demons? They are also benefiting because he is giving them their Swarupa Siddhi and elevating them. Either they are getting their original bodies or they are going back to Godhead and serving him in the Goloka or in the one of the spiritual realms. So they are being favored like that, and devotees definitely are being favored. So Krishna is equal, whether he is killing or he is protecting. He is equal because he is absolute. Whatever he does becomes absolute. So in that way, he is not a partial. But again, whoever renders service to him, I become equally friendly disposed to them. So that is what Krishna's special favor. If you become my devotee, because I am equal, that boss in the organization is equal. But once you become his friend, then he will show extra friendliness to you. So it's as simple as that. Whenever renders service to me in devotion, is a friend, is in me, and I'm also a friend to him. I think we should read the purport. Those are beautiful things that help us to continue with the discussion also. So, Mataji, will you be able to read?
Yes, Mataji. Purport. One may question here that if Krishna is equal to everyone and no one is his special friend, then why does he take a special interest in the devotees who are always engaged in his transcendental service? But this is not discrimination, it is natural. Any man in this material world may be very charitable disposed, yet he has a special interest in his own children. The Lord claims that every living entity, in whatever form, in his is his son, and so he provides everyone with a generous supply of the necessities of life. He is just like a cloud which pours rain all over, regardless of whether it falls on rock or land or water. But for his devotee, he gives specific attention. Such devotees are mentioned here. They are always in Krishna consciousness, and therefore they are always transcendentally situated in Krishna. The very phrase Krishna consciousness suggests that those who are in such consciousness are living transcendentalists, situated in Him. The Lord says here distinctly, Mai te, they are in me. Naturally, as a result, the Lord is also in them. This is reciprocal. This also explains the words ye yatha mam prapadyate tam tatheva bhajami aham. Whoever surrenders unto me proportionately, I take care of him. This transcendently reciprocation exists because both the Lord and the devotees are conscious. When a diamond is set in a golden ring, it looks very nice. The gold is glorified, and at the same time, the diamond is glorified. The Lord and the living entity eternally glitter. And when a living entity becomes inclined toward the service of the Supreme Lord, he looks like gold. The Lord is a diamond, and so this combination is very nice. Living entities is living entities in a pure state are called devotees. The Supreme Lord becomes a devotee of his devotees. If a reciprocal relationship is not present between the devotee and the Lord, then there is no personalist philosophy. In the impersonal philosophy, there is no reciprocation between Supreme and the living entity, but in the personalist philosophy, there is. The example is often given that the Lord is like a desire tree, and whatever one wants from this desire tree, the Lord supplies. But here the explanation is more complete. The Lord is here stated to be partial to the devotees. This is the manifestation of Lord's special mercy to the devotees. The Lord's reciprocation should not be considered to be under the law of karma. It belongs to the transcendental situation in which the Lord and his devotees function. Devotional service to the Lord is not an activity of this material world. It is a part of a spiritual world where eternity, bliss, and knowledge predominate.
Thank you. So, yeah, this verse talks about Krishna's friendliness to his devotees. Is equal to everyone. Example Prabhupada quotes is that of a person who is very charitable and give charities to the people, but he has his interest, special interest is with his own children. So he gives them much more property than what he gives to the charities, right? So it is that, like that. When you become Krishna's devotee, Krishna takes special care. And it is very, very natural also. This is we see in general. So how can it be different from in Krishna's dealings? So whatever Krishna deals is whatever we see in the world, and also other way also. Because nothing comes out of other than it is there in Krishna, that's why it comes out in our real life also. And yeah, and this example is also showing about our 4th chapter verse, Ye yatha mam prapadyanti, 4:7. यथा मां प्रपद्यन्ते तां तथैव भज मम वर्तमानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्य पार्थ सर्वस. However you reciprocate, approach me, I will reward you like that. So if you go be neutral, there are five neutral is still far out rasa. Like neutral is the trees in Vrindavan. And non-neutral means like being indifferent. Neutrality and indifference is a lot of difference, right? It's like 180 degrees other side. Neutrality is where you're santa, like, you're passive. Whatever is okay, I will serve Krishna, and whatever he likes, that is neutrality. But indifference is indifferent being to Krishna. So that's not what it is. So what Krishna is saying, if you are neutral to me, I will be neutral to you. In that sense, like I will reciprocate to your neutrality. If you want to be my friend, I'll reciprocate to your friendship, and so on. If you are indifferent, then I'll make sure you will not know me at all. So that's what Krishna says in Yathamam Prapadim. So in this, Krishna is talking about the devotion part. So if you become my devotee, I will take special interest. It is not partialities. People may think it is partiality, but he is already giving benefit to the enemies, demons, and also to the his devotees also. So what is the difference? He will give them whatever they want, right? They're anyway getting benefited. Kamsa also got his whatever happened to Kamsa, but the other like Agasura and these other demons that Krishna has killed, they have gotten their spiritual bodies, right? And also on the battlefield of Kurukshetra itself, all these warriors, they were looking at Krishna, and Arjuna putting arrows on them, throwing arrows on them. And in that mood, they looked at these two personalities together, Krishna on the chariot, riding the chariot, and Arjuna throwing arrows at them. And they looked at that scene and they left their bodies. And they all got their own spiritual bodies in the next situation. So that is how they get, even though they get killed in the hands of Krishna or Krishna devotees, they are getting the highest form. So we can understand like that. So Krishna is not partial. Krishna is very impartial. Just that whoever are equal is, we cannot think that Krishna is partial. He's giving me a lot of problems, and whereas so that is different, right? When Krishna gives problems to the pure devotees, it is for glorifying them, to show that how my pure devotees work when they are in trying situations. Now for his Madhyama devotees, he may give some calamity, or it may look like he is giving calamity, or maybe it is our previous karma. But how the devotee should work is, how he should understand is, I'm getting purified, so that my next situation will be better. I will be better situated in Krishna consciousness. Right now, I'm suffering because Krishna is taking away all that in this life. So we should look at it like that. And there is philosophy behind that. That's like little high level. We will go, and that is not what is the intention here. But we need to look at that. Krishna is reciprocal. He's not partial. I mean, he's not. He's impartial to everyone, and he's reciprocal as well at the same time. You can understand. Did Palak had a question?
Yes, Mataji. It was from Srinivas Prabhu's question, actually. I see that everybody in ISKCON tries to take care of devotees, and if they go left and right, they try to guide them, right? Just like Srinivas Prabhuji was asking questions. My personal opinion is that if they are meant to be here, they will be here, and if they're not, they won't be, right? We can say 10 kinds of things to people, and that can temporarily work for them, but ultimately it's what goes inside them that will work. So I want to know what motivates us, because I'm pretty sure there is something that I'm not able to see. And what is that thing that I'm missing that wants us to even ask those people to stay and understand and realize?
We can look at it multiple ways on that topic. Then where is our service, right? If you only think that if they are meant to be here, they'll be here. If not, no. Where is our service? Which is our service. So we have to look at it contextually. We can apply all the principles contextually. Not one principle might work at every given situation. I think we'll keep to the schedule today. We have 25 minutes. You have exam test. So let's go. Next 4 verses. Palak can recite. Api chet suduracharo
Api chet sudha duracharo
bhajate mam ananya bhag
bhajate mam ananya bhav
sadureva samantavya
eva samantavya
samyak vyavasito hi saha.
samyak vyavasito hi saha.
So there are these 2 verses. This verse and the next verse are together in that sense. So let's read that. Also, the word purport to this is little big. Okay, let me just quickly say, not going to the details of purport yet. So if someone who's on the path of Krishna consciousness commits some abominable action, but still is engaged in devotional service, he is still to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. Krishna is saying that. So sometimes we may see some Vaishnava has done something out of his nature because of some situation. We don't know what has happened and we cannot judge that he has become unsaintly. He's still to be considered saintly because Krishna is saying he is situated, like although that one moment has happened like that and he's become in this situation which made people to judge him, but he's situated in Krishna consciousness. All of the other parts of his life are totally into Krishna consciousness. So we cannot judge him, even though he has done some abominable action. So this is how liberal Krishna is. He has made it very liberal. And now he tells, let's read that. I will come back and read more of this purport. Just want to go into the next verse also. It says, Shalini, Kshipram bhavati dharmatma,
Shipram bhavati dharmatma,
Shashvas chantim nigachati,
Shashvat shantim nigachati,
Kaunteya pratijanihi,
Kaunteya pratijanihi,
Name bhaktya pranashyati.
Name bhakta pranashyati.
He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So these 2 verses are together, 29 and 31, where in the first verse, in the earlier verse, Krishna said there may be some situation where a devotee might do some abominable action, which may be questionable. But because he is situated in the process of Krishna consciousness, he is still considered saintly. And then because of being situated in saintly in Krishna consciousness, that person may quickly become righteous and last attaining peace. And now he himself is not telling, he is asking his devotee to declare that. Because sometimes Krishna says something, people may say, oh, he says like that only. But Krishna upholds his devotee's words more than he upholds his own words. So Krishna is saying to Arjuna, declare it boldly, Arjuna, that my devotee never perishes. What does that? So we can go into the details of these 2 verses. What does the perish means and so on. The perish is not the body. Body will perish. It is made of the 8 elements. Body will perish. But what has to not perish is the devotional aspect of it, which continues life after life, right? So even though that person who was in that Krishna consciousness has done some abominable action, he should still be considered saintly because he will, by the process of devotional service, he will become righteous and he will attain the peace. My devotee will not perish, even though by that act he might be in a situation that this might be very drastic, okay? It might not be, we might not have seen it in our contemporary situations, but it might be very drastic also. So even in that case, don't judge these devotees. So let's read these 2 purports, maybe parts of the other purport and these 2 purports. Yeah. How much can you read?
Shall I read, Mataji?
Yeah, read.
From where on?
Yeah, first part to the second purport. I think there is another Bhagavati. Yeah, we can read that. We don't know how much we can read, but read.
The word Sudurachara used in this verse is very significant and we should understand it properly. When a living entity is conditioned, he has 2 kinds of activities. One is conditional and the other is constitutional. As for protecting the body or abiding by the rules of society and state, certainly there are different activities even for the devotees in connection with the conditioned souls, and such activities are called conditional. Besides these, the living entity who is fully conscious of his spiritual nature and is engaged in Krishna consciousness or the devotional service of the Lord has activities which are called transcendental. Such activities are performed in his constitutional position and they are technically called devotional service. Now, in the conditioned state, sometimes devotional service and the conditional service in relation to the body will parallel one another. But then again, sometimes these activities become opposed to one another. As far as possible, a devotee is very cautious so that he does not do anything that could disrupt his wholesome condition. He knows that perfection in his activities depend on his progressive realization of Krishna consciousness. Sometimes, however, it may be seen that a person in Krishna consciousness commits some act which may be taken as most abominable socially or politically. But such a temporary fall down does not disqualify him. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is stated that if a person falls down but is wholeheartedly engaged in the transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, the Lord, being situated within his heart, purifies him and excuses him from that abomination. The material contamination is so strong that even a yogi fully engaged in the service of the Lord sometimes becomes ensnared. But Krishna consciousness is so strong that such an occasional fall down is at once rectified. Therefore, the process of devotional service is always a success. No one should deride a devotee for some accidental fall down from the ideal path, for as explained in the next verse, such occasional fall downs will be stopped in due course as soon as the devotee is completely situated in Krishna consciousness. Should I continue?
Yeah, continue.
Therefore, a person who is situated in Krishna consciousness and is engaged with determination in the process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, should be considered to be in transcendental position, even if by chance or accident he is found to have fallen. The words Sadur Eva, he is saintly, are very emphatic. They are a warning to non-devotees that because of an accidental fall down, a devotee should not be derided. He should still be considered saintly, even if he has accidentally fallen down. And the word mantavya is still more emphatic. If one does not follow this rule and derides the devotee for his accidental fall down, then one is disobeying the order of the Supreme Lord. The only qualification of a devotee is to be unflinchingly and exclusively engaged in devotional service.
So,
Carry on.
yeah.
Meaning is not read the verse, right?
Yeah, just read the translation.
Yeah. The meaning is that even if one fully engaged in the devotional service of the Lord is sometimes found engaged in abominable activities, these activities should be considered to be like the spots that resemble the mark of a rabbit on the moon. Such spots do not become an impediment to the diffusion of moonlight. Similarly, the accidental fall down of a devotee from the path of saintly character does not make him abominable. On the other hand, one should not misunderstand that a devotee in transcendental devotional service can act in all kinds of abominable ways. This verse only refers to an accident due to the strong power of material connections. Devotional service is more or less a declaration of war against the illusory energy. As long as one is not strong enough to fight the illusory energy, there may be accidental fall downs. But when one is strong enough, he is no longer subjected to such fall downs, as previously explained. No one should take advantage of this verse and commit nonsense and think that he is still a devotee. If he does not improve in his character by devotional service, then it is to be understood that he is not a high devotee.
So all points are covered. So we may think that some occasional fall downs are considered by Krishna as not abominable, because the person is situated still in Krishna consciousness and in high Krishna consciousness. In the process of his conditioned life and transcendental life, constitutional, there may be some conflict sometimes, but they are parallel. Like we may have to work in an organization that, for example, say bank money can, I mean, what else, right? Money is used in various ways. So there is probably some, if you are in a position where you sign checks to some organizations that will do them some business which is not conducive for Krishna consciousness, you still do, because you are in that role to sign the checks to them, to give the loans and whatnot. So what to do? Like, this is our job. This is our conditional. And constitutionally, we know our activities that we do at home and in the temple. So they may be, these are parallel tracks. They should go hand in hand, but they should not totally contradict. We should not work for a butchering company, for example, that sells meat. So and whatever you're getting out of your paycheck, you're offering that, but still there is a lot of karma, because how many animals are being cut, right? So like that. So they may sometimes, but the devotee, if is totally situated fully in Krishna, there are so many butchers that became Krishna devotees, by the way, by the process of book distribution. There are stories that they are just doing a butcher seminar after going through so much, and there enters a devotee because he's been chased by police. There are some stories like this I've read. There are stories on this, like they're chased by the police because of some whatever the book carrier, the distributor was not putting something in order or whatever. They're chasing. They don't want to be on the streets selling the books or distributing the books. So they are being chased, and this person enters into this scene where the butcher seminar is going on. And he comes and distributes these books, says that, like, give me some time to speak. He speaks and he distributes all the books, and these people are in tears. Oh, wow, we are butchers. We are doing a seminar on how we can increase our business. But this is, they have gotten the transcendental literature of Srila Prabhupada, and there are stories that talk about. So it may be looking that we are contradicting to our life sometimes, and the butcher, and unless the devotee goes and talks to these butchers, how are they going to? And slowly they cannot stop all the plugs at once. It's not like a switch that you stop it. Even if you switch off the thing, something, it fan revolves for some time. Like, you cannot halt anything like that. Slowly, your intentions are pure, then it will slowly come down and Krishna will make another arrangement for you. So like that. So considering that, if your activity in some cases which is abominable, Krishna doesn't consider it unsaintly. But nevertheless, that should not give us a license to do any abominable activity, because Krishna is saying that person should still be considered. If it gives us this license that we can do whatever, then he's not a devotee in high order at all to begin with. So he is using this excuse to do. And Krishna is not, you cannot cheat Krishna. In 10th chapter, he speaks, he's a cheater of all, he's a cheat of all the cheaters. So you cannot cheat Krishna. So you may try to fool yourself saying that, oh yeah, Krishna said this, I will still consider saintly because I'm chanting Hare Krishna. I can do all this, some cheating business, but still you cannot do that. You cannot continue. These people will not be able to continue for a long time. Yes.
Quick question, Mataji, if we have time. So I'm just trying to understand this one, abominable action, versus the other verse that we read, in which Prabhupada writes, you cannot judge a devotee's action, tanara, vakya, kriya. So maybe that devotee is doing that action because he's driven by Krishna consciousness. How do we distinguish between the two? So what could be an abominable action example?
Example. Yeah, they can take, there were some associates in Prabhupada's time. He was working in the meat industry and he became a devotee. So how you can consider that he's doing abominable activity? He is a devotee practicing, trying to become good devotee, and he has, this is his profession. And do you consider him saintly or unsaintly? Slowly, because he's situated in Krishna consciousness, he will come out of that situation because there is so much of karma implication in it. So that is one. We need some practical lessons on this, how things have, how, I'll think about it. So that one was like example of preaching and going and mingling with the masses. That one we understood, right? And this one is abominable, is something that they seemingly contradictory to the regulative principles.
Okay.
Anything contradicting to the regulative principles that they do, again, we cannot be judgmental about it because of the earlier verse. We sometimes Vaishnavas do things that are not understood even by intelligent people. So that's why never judge. So by the judgment, when Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one time when he was preaching among his devotees, disciples, this one person did some, maybe was in a sannyasi situation, and then he fell down, got married probably. And then Prabhupada, Bhakti Saraswati Thakur used to say, don't chastise him so much. Don't put him to shame in the public or in the devotee circles. He won't be able to come back. If you do that, he will never be, even though if he wants to come back, for example, if you put him to shame so much, he will not be able to come back. So don't judge him that he is bad. Leave it between him and Krishna. You don't take the charge in your hand saying that, oh, this guy has not done as per the scriptural requirement and then he is bad. That's what Krishna is warning against. Don't do that. They may be situated in some place. Yeah, this is the example. Like sannyasi falling down is not recommended in Shastra. But can we write him away, write him off? We should not. We don't know what happened. And let him and Krishna deal. Let's not be in the middle and say judgments. Because what if he comes back and becomes reinstated? And Prabhupada has reinstated many such his disciples like that, who probably fell down from sannyasi level and came back, served him, right? So that's why he's saying they will quickly become righteous because they're in that process. If you write them off, they will never be able to come. And because of that, my devotee will be strong wherever he is. And he is not doing it himself. He's asking Arjuna to declare, because when he listens to he upholds his devotee's words more than he upholds his words, Krishna. Like in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when this battle between Kauravas and Pandavas was happening, and the next day, Bhishma takes a vow that I will kill all the 5 Pandavas by tomorrow. Next day is the last day for all the Pandavas. And Krishna, because he's omniscient, he knows this, and he goes and approaches. He tells Arjuna, go get, and he puts those 5 arrows with Duryodhana. Now, we put those Duryodhana has those arrows. Krishna knows that whatever Bhishma took oath, that he will kill all the 5 Pandavas with his 5 arrows, they are with Duryodhana. Krishna tells Arjuna, go bring those arrows. And Arjuna goes and brings somehow, with some trick, he gets those arrows from Duryodhana. And Bhishma comes to know about it. Then he says, okay, now you have saved your devotees by taking those, because I have taken a vow to kill the devotees. Now you have taken that arrows away, but now you save your disciple Arjuna. I will make either you fight or you save your devotees. That is what he takes. Now, to prove that situation, that word right, Krishna did not participate, but he participated in the war by lifting the chariot wheel. So like that, he upholds his disciple, his devotees' words more closer. And he already took a vow not to fight in the war. He will not take a astra. He will not take a weapon in his hand. But he did with the wheel as astra. So he upheld the words of Bhishma and he kind of neglected his own words. So that's what he says. Because he puts his devotees more upfront than himself, you declare at Kaunteya that my devotees will not perish. Because when you say, then it will be lasting. It will for sure will happen. Sometimes I may give my word, but situations can turn me around and I can do. But when you say it, I will. Whenever Narada Muni says something, Krishna approved. Narada Muni gives this two Yamaraj's sons, Kuvera, Nalagriva, Nalakuvara and Marigriva, that you become the trees, but Krishna will come and save you. When Krishna had to make that pastime of Damodar Leela, he had to go in between. So like that, Krishna upholds his disciples, devotees' words more than he keeps them very close to his heart than he himself. So let's read this. We have 15 minutes more, 2 more verses to go. Yeah, read this. Palak.
Sorry.
Yes, Mataji. Text 32 or purport of the text 31. Okay. This should not be misunderstood. In the 7th chapter, the Lord says that one who is engaged in mischievous activities cannot become a devotee of the Lord. One who is not a devotee of the Lord has no good qualifications whatsoever. The question remains then, how can a person engaged in do abominable activities, either by accident or by intention, be a pure devotee? This question may just be raised. The miscreants, as stated in the 7th chapter, who never come to the devotional service of the Lord, no good qualifications, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Generally, a devotee who is engaged in the 9 kinds of devotional activities is engaged in the process of cleansing all material contaminations from the heart. He puts the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, and all sinful contaminations are naturally washed away. Continuously thinking of the Supreme Lord makes him pure by nature. According to the Vedas, there is a certain regulation that if one falls down from his exalted position, ritualistic process to purify himself. But here there is no such condition because the purifying process is already there in the heart of the devotee due to his remembering the Supreme Personality of Godhead constantly. Therefore, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare should be continued without stoppage. This will protect a devotee from all accidental fall downs. He will thus remain perpetually free from all material contaminations.
So this has to be followed up, backed up. So that's why it's not like you do an abominable act and then you rectify it by chanting Hare Krishna. That is not. It is not. We continuously chant Hare Krishna, and by accident we become do some mistake. And because you're constantly chanting Hare Krishna, you're saved. Not the other way. You do the act first and chant Hare Krishna. That's not giving the license to do that. You need to be Parinishthita Bhakta. That is, you're always a devotee from the beginning, not at the end. Right? This is the situation. Like you, at the end, you want to become a devotee, you do whatever you want, but I will chant Hare Krishna. That's the greatest offense. Doing abominable activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. We decide that as one of the offenses to the holy name. Today I will do something, tomorrow I will chant Hare Krishna and rectify the process. No. This is an accidental fall down only for the devotees who are already practicing Krishna consciousness. This, we should not misunderstand this. Otherwise, it becomes an offense to the holy name. Then he says, one other verse, I'll just read. Mam hi parthavya pastrisya yehi yepi shu papayo nayaha stayo vaishastata shudras te piyanti parangatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter of me, though they may be lower birth, women, vaishyas, merchants, and shudras workers can attain their supreme destination. So this is not bereft for anybody, even they are born in the low class families or merchants who are only interested in the transactional business, Shudras who are only interested in serving the people. It is not. And women are added in this category just because women sometimes can be very bodily conscious. So there may be questions around why is Krishna added women here, but the situation is women mostly can be very bodily conscious sometimes, not all, but women generally are body because that is their situation. In the beginning, they have some bodily needs, and once they have children, they have to take care of the children. So they are mostly very physical in nature. So for them also, this process is not bereft. If they only think, and this kind of statements Prabhupada encountered with his disciples, women disciples, and Prabhupada used to say, don't think that you're a woman, you're a spirit soul. If you think that you are a woman, then this applies to you. If you think that you are a spirit soul, then this will not apply to you. But generally, if you look at women have a special needs, their bodily requirements are different. They're made differently. So that way, their time, their energies are taken away. And they may not get all opportunities that other men may get in pursuing their studies or whatever, or learning the Shastra, right? But they are also not bereft if they continue on this path. Once they realize that they are not just women, they are spirit souls in the body of a woman, then they can understand this. So Prabhupada used to give like that. Like, don't think it is. Even Krishna is saying women. Prabhupada also use such words in other chapters, whether you probably read third chapter, second chapter. So it is not to be considered like that. If women also is a soul, they will also be able to benefit, also make progress in Krishna consciousness. But because they have special requirements, they may become a little slow in their journey, but they are not bereft. This is what it means to say. I will go to the next two. Kim punarbrahmana punya bhakta rajarshayastata anityam asukam lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. How much more this is so of the righteous brahmanas, the devotees and the saintly kings. Therefore, having come to this temporary miserable world, engage in devotional service to me. So Krishna is saying, even if those fourth class people, Vaishyas, Sudras, women are able to get benefit, how much is it for this Brahmanas who are already situated in the right path and the devotees and saintly? So everyone is on the right track. Everyone can take up this process and make progress. So you're not left anybody out. Okay, we have 9 minutes. Yeah, we can read this purport. Who has not read? Vigyan Prabhu?
This one. In this material world, there are classifications of people, but after all, this world is not happy place for anyone. It is clearly stated here, Anityam Asukham Lokam. In this world is temporary and full of miseries, not habitable for any sane gentleman. This world is declared by Supreme Personality of Godhead to be a temporary and full of miseries. Some philosophers, especially Mayavadi philosophers, say that this world is false, but we can understand from Bhagavad Gita that the world is not false, it is temporary. There is difference between temporary and false. This world is temporary, but there is another world which is eternal. This world is miserable, but the other world is eternal and blissful. Arjuna was born in a saintly royal family. To him also the Lord says, take to my devotional service and come quickly back to Godhead, back home. No one should remain in this temporary world full as it is with miseries. Everyone should attach himself to the bosom of Supreme Personality of Godhead so that he can be eternally happy. The devotional service of the Supreme Lord is the only process by which all problems of all causes of men can be solved. Everyone should therefore take to Krishna consciousness and make his life perfect. Hare Krishna.
So this is available for everyone. And because he spoke about Vaishya, Sudras, women and like that, and Krishna is speaking about the Brahmanas and the devotees and the saintly kings, because Arjuna is from the saintly kings society. Therefore, it is not better for everyone. Everyone can take up this Krishna consciousness and make their life and go back to Godhead quickly. Because this world is Dukalayam and Ashashwatam. It's temporary and full of miseries. It is not false. It is temporary because this keeps repeating. This situation will happen, another situation will come. But this is cyclic also, temporary and cyclic, like how the seasons change. After winter, then spring, then summer, then fall, then winter. It is temporary because each time is not constant and cyclic, and that way it is eternal. It constantly happens. So we need to get over this situation is what Krishna is saying. And now it comes to the last verse, which is very important verse. It's probably not our memorization words, but there's no harm in memorizing this verse. This kind of verse repeats twice in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna speaks here in 934, which is the last chapter verse of this middle section of the Bhagavad Gita, exactly the middle. Middle we spoke that the other one, 913. But this one is, he repeats, this instruction he repeats twice in Bhagavad Gita. Here and also when he's concluding Bhagavad Gita in 18th chapter, 1864, if I remember. So 64 or 65. So this is a very important instruction Krishna gives on how we can constantly remember him. Manmana bhava, Deepali? Manmana
Yes.
madbhakto.
Manmana bhava madbhakto.
Madhyaji mam namaskuru.
Madhyaji mam namaskuru.
Mame vashyasi yukvaivam.
Mama evyashi yuktaivam
Atmanam matparayanaha.
atmanah matparayah.
Engage your mind always in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. This is the key of how to become Krishna conscious. Always engage your mind in thinking of me. Become my devotee. Offer obeisances to me and worship me. Always, constantly. Oh wow, it's a big purport. We have 5 minutes. Yeah, just read the first paragraph, please.
Yes, Mataji, I can read. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that the Krishna consciousness is the only means of being delivered from the clutches of this contaminated material world. Sometimes unscrupulous commentators distort the meaning of what's clearly stated here, that all devotional service should be offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Unfortunately, unscrupulous commentators divert the mind of the reader to that which is not at all feasible. Such commentators do not know that there is no difference between Krishna's mind and Krishna. Krishna is not an ordinary human being. He is the absolute truth. His body, his mind, his and he himself are the one and the absolute. It is stated that it is stated in the Kurma Puran as it is quoted by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami in his Anubhashya comments on Chaitanya Charanamrita, chapter 5, Adi Leela, verses 41 to 48. Deha Dehi Vibhedo Yam Nishwasre Vidyate Kvachit. This means that there is no difference in Krishna, the Supreme Lord, between himself and his body. But because the commentators do not know the science of Krishna, they hide Krishna and divide his personality from his mind or from his body. Although this is sheer ignorance of the science of Krishna, some men make profit out of misleading people.
Yeah, hold on.
There are some.
No, don't read everything.
Yes.
I think he's concluding the chapter here. Yeah, we can read this.
One should therefore engage his mind in the eternal form, the primal form of Krishna, with conviction in his heart that Krishna is the supreme. He should engage himself in worship. There are hundreds of thousands of temples in India for the worship of Krishna, and devotional service is practiced there. When such practice is made, one has to offer obeisances to Krishna. One should lower his head before the deity and engage his mind, his body, his activities, everything. That will make one fully absorbed in Krishna without deviation. This will help one transfer to Krishna Loka. One should not be deviated by unscrupulous commentators. One should engage in the 9 different processes of devotional service, beginning with hearing and chanting about Krishna. Pure devotional service is the highest achievement of human society.
Okay, we'll pause. So why Prabhupada has started off this particular statements is because people say when they are some commentators they write about Krishna's commentary on Bhagavad Gita and say Krishna, you should not pay obeisances to Krishna. You should pay obeisances to that formless person that is there within Krishna. So like that, they unnecessarily concoct the pure message what Krishna is saying. Think of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances to me, worship me. Is very simple. Like you, I am a person, you do all this about me. He's saying, but they have concocted in such a way that there is no such person like Krishna, like there is some message, there is some form or formless entity, pay to that. So just to negate all those commentaries Krishna Prabhupada is talking about, there's no difference between Krishna and his words and his form. So thinking of Krishna is worshipping Krishna directly. That's why we say when we have to think about Krishna, if we chant his holy name, it's it's nothing different than thinking of Krishna himself, because his name and he himself are not different. So when he's saying, think about me, become my devotee, offer, it is to him that we have to become a devotee. It is to him we have to offer obeisances and worship, and it is of him that we have to think by chanting Hare Krishna. So this is a very beautiful verse. If you want remember this verse, it's very nice, memorization wise also. the last statement Krishna Prabhupada talks about, last two is 7th and 8th chapters, how they are glorifying the devotional service part of it. And that 9th chapter itself talks more details, and Krishna is giving what is the process of achieving him by constantly thinking of it. Manmana bhava mad bhakta. Constantly think about in the back of your mind while you are doing your activities. We discuss that sometimes for us it is hard to keep Krishna in the mind when we are doing things. So we dedicate some time as a practice. But we can come to that stage while keeping him in the back of your mind, you do things in perfection. That's the perfection of life. That's what Arjuna did. He might not be constant, like it is in the background. It's never out of his mind. It's in the background and he's doing his duty. So that's perfect, like gopis, that's perfection of their lives. So we can become like that by constantly thinking about him. Always, Krishna is saying, right? Always thinking of me, become my devotee. We're not saying that you think 3 times a day. Always thinking about me. Manmana, because something in the mind will constantly act, right? When we are going through some situation, even though you're doing something, that is acting in your mind. And similar to that, we can make Krishna act in your mind. Like that. I hope you got the point of this verse. And that concludes our chapter.
Hare Krishna Mataji, there is a message from devotees and Mataji whether they can continue the same link for sloka.
Okay. Sure. Did Haladini Gopika Mataji join?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji. Hare
Oh,
Krishna.
Hare
Pranam Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Yes, you can continue. I will stop recording. But yeah, we are done.